Okay. Very cool. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So what I will do is similarly, sorry, guys, could you please mute when you're not talking? I hear echo of myself. What I will do is demonstrate you one more one more additional like use case for us to better understand the problem that we will going to solve today. So let me first copy our repository, and similar way we did with Boston and Orlando, we will create it user 1 and for user 2. And let's pretend that these are two different users running from two different computers. Okay. So if we go to user 1, run Terraform apply, what will happen? The standard apply operation will simply run. But if, let's say, we are working together and this user 2 folder is like somebody cloned our repository from completely different machine, right? Let's even open it into as a separate terminal window. So if we run Terraform apply, no, let's first wait until this one created.
Vladimir,
Yes.
behind the Terraform is mainly API request with Go, or with which language?
Yes, it is correct. Terraform is is written in Golang, and it's simply making API requests to your cloud provider. That is exactly right.
Okay, and why is it Golang?
Are you asking me?
Maybe
because the creators decided to use this programming language when they started Terraform.
No, I'm asking why Golang, because it's not only Terraform that uses that implements its plugins with Go. In Kubernetes, I think also there are some.
Yeah, Kubernetes is also written in Golang. It's kind of, I wouldn't say that it's like extremely specific and gives like awful lot of advantages, but like historically this happened, and Terraform, Kubernetes are written in Golang. And in fact, the only reason why DevOps engineer might need to learn Golang is not to write his own programs from scratch, but to contribute to existing tools if needed. Otherwise, I could recommend Python. It's more easy and easier to start.
I see. Thank you.
Okay, very cool. So we have created these this infrastructure, and let's switch to like our imaginary second machine, right? Once infrastructure is created, and if we want to make changes, if, for example, the colleague cloned our repository and want to change our existing infrastructure, and if he cloned this, and if he running Terraform apply from his own machine, from the separate computer, what should we expect when we run Terraform apply? Let's say we want to change the tag. Let me open these both two folders. So let's say we went to our second so-called machine, and let's imagine we decided to change, for example, a tag. Where do we have tags? Let's say add additional tag to VPC.
Just a question, by user meaning another.
Yes, I don't have second machine. I just copied this to a separate folder. Right.
So we're using the same AWS account.
Yes, same AWS account. So what we want to achieve? We want to make just this change, right? Only one resource created from scratch. Change it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we run Terraform apply, let me show you what's happened. For some reason, it wants us to add 21 resources again. 21 completely new resources. That's not what we're expecting in this scenario, right?
Mm-hmm. The second user doesn't have the new TF state, so it's normal that it will create all the resources.
Yes, very good. And that's the file, terraform.tf state. In fact, this terraform tf state contains all, I would say, text definition of all resources that are actually created, that actually exist in Terraform, including its instance ID and all other properties that might be relevant to us. And for example, if we copy this file and bring it to us and run Terraform plan again, it will read the Terraform state, and you see it only changes one part. There is nothing else it wants to add or create or remove. Or if we, for example, remove Terraform state even from our initial folder, let me like rename it like this. Doesn't see it. It will try to create everything again because simply it lost the information about the resources that it has. So, and the question is, let me return it back. The question is, how do we store our remote state, and how do we share this remote state if there is more than one person contributing to infrastructure? And how do we protect our remote state from being like damaged or lost? For example, if our computer broke, how do we make sure that we haven't lost the actual resources, right? And the answer to this is that we can store our remote state in, for example, Amazon S3 bucket. Let me show you how it works. Let's first remove these previous files, user1 and user2. We no longer need them. Run Terraform destroy here and continue with the initial file.
Vladimir, just a question.
Yes.
Why, when you did the apply, Terraform didn't get the actual state of the cluster from the
Which cluster? We don't have any clusters.
from the AWS account?
Because Terraform is using terraform.tf state as a source of information.
So it doesn't. Yeah, sorry.
It doesn't check the AWS account itself. It should have some means to understand which instance belongs to Terraform and which instance does not belong to Terraform. If you create an instance yourself, how would it understand that that's the instance that you created and it should not care about it? This information is stored in terraform.tf state file.
Okay, I see. Okay, so if someone else changes our resource that we created, it's only them, then we can update the state.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So let me create a separate file and I call it provider.tf. First, I will add some like mandatory block, which is Terraform. And within this block, I will create so-called backend configuration. Backend S3. We'll need to specify an Amazon S3 bucket that will hold this TF state file. So I already have one created previously. If you don't have a bucket in Amazon S3, you can create it manually. So here is mine. Also, we need to specify key, or in simple words, file name. And the region. In my case, it's East 1. Let me check one more thing quickly, 1 second. Yeah, that should work. Now what we need to do is run Terraform init one more time. And I can run Terraform apply. Let's allow it to be recreated.
A question, Vladimir?
Yes.
What if the S3 bucket was in another region? Would the in terms of network, it doesn't work, or?
Good question. I haven't checked that. Usually a bucket should be in the same region. But actually, yes, I remember cases where I had a bucket in one region and infrastructure in another region. It works completely fine. It works well.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
I have a question. Like when we were doing the scenario of the two users, and like we deleted the TF state file, and we tried Terraform apply, and it was going to create the resources. If we have like entered yes and let Terraform to do the work, would we have like an error message back because it will check that we already have the resources created in AWS?
It will not check for any already created resources. It's this terraform.tf state is the memory of Terraform. When you remove Terraform.tf state, you completely wipe out its memory. Terraform
So it would create
does no longer remember anything about any resources. And this instance will be just an instance. He will not even check that this instance exists. So what Terraform is doing, it is going to terraform.tf state, comparing it with desired configuration that you have, and if there is a difference, it creates or updates required resources, but they should be in terraform.tf state.
I understand. So we would end up with duplicate resources.
Yes, that's right. That's totally correct. Okay, now resources created, and let me do this. I will commit these changes. Now I will even clone these from scratch from GitHub. So it's even more obvious and explicit. Now, when I go to user 2 and check out my remote branch, and run Terraform apply, and Terraform init first, since it doesn't have .terraform folder. It says, you can notice here, configured S3 backend. So it already understands that the Terraform TF state file, it should look for located in S3. Run Terraform apply. And it says only one change that we have added, that we have pointed, right? Now it's working correctly. And if we go to our AWS S3, you can see that, yeah, there are some previous TF state files that I might want to delete. 1 second. Is not related to our today session. And if I get back to my bucket, there should be this Terraform TF state file. It was uploaded today, and it basically contains our configuration of our infrastructure. Now, the second part. If we, for example, go here and let's say delete our private instance, and in our second user, we will change the instance size of our instance. And let's run Terraform apply here. And Terraform apply from our primary location. Oh, that's the wrong folder, sorry. already created plan to update the instance size here. And here it says, yeah, we need to do more changes. We need to change our outputs as well. No, wrong folder, this one. So now, interesting thing. Here it says it will destroy our instance. Here it says it will change our instance. If we let's even have a look. I have no idea what will happen. For sure, some collision, but let's allow this to happen. Let's press yes here and type yes here and initiate this almost immediately. Yes, yes. This one says modifying, this one says destroying. What will happen? Who knows? Who can guess?
There must be a semaphore somewhere.
Yes, and in fact, currently there is no semaphore, and there is I would say, like, collision race condition. So most likely, yeah, instance destroyed. Probably the destroy will have higher preference. So it started to change this, right? But in the meantime, received a call to destroy, and this one errored out because instance no longer available, right? So let's reset this. And this as well. And run Terraform apply again. Or it will recreate new instance instead of the one that was previously deleted. And after this is done, I will explain you how to avoid these types of collisions, because when you work in a team, these can very often happen when both of you started on working on some feature, applying, and like bams, and there is a collision. So for these to work, there is a thing called remote state lock. And give me just a second, I will show you how it works. So in AWS, there is a feature called DynamoDB. It's basically like managed NoSQL tables that are running in AWS account. We need to create a table and call it, for example, Terraform remote state lock. And the partition key of this table should be called lock ID. This is Terraform thing. This is what Terraform requires. Let's create this table. Okay, that one is previous. Let me delete this. It is not required. And in our Terraform, we should change our provider config and add one more key. Call it DynamoDB table. And provide the name of the table that will be used as a kind of dispatcher that will prevent these collisions. And same thing here. ready? Yes, it is ready. And now, when I, for example, make changes here, let's say we want to remove the instance again and run Terraform apply. It will ask us to initialize again. And if we, for example, run Terraform apply here, let me show you what will happen. It says error acquiring state log. So what happened? Terraform went to AWS, opened this Terraform table, and discovered that there is a record that someone has basically an apply operation pending, right? This record is basically saying that please do not allow any apply operations until this record is removed. So let me show you. I cancel this. Run Terraform plan one more time, make sure state log is released. And when we refresh, there is no longer this record here. And if we get back and try again, Terraform apply is working well. Very good, right? Let's then commit everything and push it to GitHub. Let's restore these two output instance.
Is it possible that we get into a deadlock?
What do you mean?
Like the Terraform acquiring the token stays in an idle state and doesn't release the token.
Once again, can you rephrase that?
So you launched like one Terraform apply, and that Terraform applied, it got the token.
Mm-hmm.
And
you mean state log? Okay.
Yeah, it locked the state, but didn't give back the token so that
Yes.
other instances use it.
Yeah, good question. Let me demonstrate that. It is indeed possible, and we can easily resolve it. 1 second. I will merge this for now and demonstrate you this problem that you described. Let me run Terraform apply here, and assume that this session we need to change something first, and we will assume that the supply session hanged or whatnot, or the colleague is not responding, and you need to somehow unlock these to land like a very important, very urgent change. So let's do this. Change something here and run Terraform plan, and it will give us an error. So basically, two options here. We can simply go and delete this log from the DynamoDB table. This one, you simply press delete items.
If we have access.
Yes. You most likely you'll have access to this table if you are allowed to run Terraform. And then when you run Terraform plan, it will allow you to create your own state and run. Also, there is Terraform force unlock command that essentially doing the same command, the same thing. It gave you this lock ID, so you can run Terraform force unlock, and basically copy this one, paste it here, and it will basically repeat the same thing. It will remove the required record from the DynamoDB table.
Okay.
Okay, so let's then once again. Did you ask anything else?
What's the other solution? You said there were two.
I have just demonstrated you two solutions. Remove remote state manually from DynamoDB and use Terraform force unlock.
Yeah. No, I thought there were other
Let's move forward.
resources.
Let's move forward. Okay. Now, one more thing that I wanted to show you, another use case. So, what will happen if we have our Terraform applied? And I will reset this 1 second. And let's say if I want to rename this resource name. Can anyone guess what will happen when I run Terraform plan? Any thoughts?
It will destroy. Yeah, go.
It will destroy the previous instance and then create new instance with a new name.
Yes, it is correct. But if we were, for example, to change, if we would like to change it without destroying, what would be our option? Actually, we can manage our state using the Terraform state command, right? So first, what it allows us to do is we can look for all resources that created and maintained by current state, right? Also, we can look up properties of our resources. For example, Terraform state show and our private instance, AWS instance.private. It shows like entire specification same way it is showed in state. And there is also Terraform state move command. And what you think this command will do? Any clues? So if we want to prevent recreating of this instance,
change the private.
yes, exactly. So let's do this again. So just to make sure we still on the same page. We have renamed from private to private dash instance. When we run Terraform plan, it suggests that it will delete the instance called private and recreate it with the name private dash instance, right? But after we run Terraform state move or MV, resource types. Yeah, sorry, my misprint from my side. And run Terraform apply again, or Terraform plan, it will say we have no resources to change, everything is good. And another cool, interesting use case, couple more Terraform state management commands is, and let me also demonstrate another use case. Let's say our manager said that we no longer want to manage our private instance using Terraform, right? We remove this output and remove this private instance. But how we disconnect our instance that we created from Terraform? If we run Terraform plan now, it says the instance will be destroyed, right? But how do we make sure it's no longer actually managed by Terraform, but the instance itself still persists? What can we do with this?
Remove it from the T state.
Yes, totally right. And there is a separate Terraform state management command called Terraform state RM. And will be our resource identifier. So it will, let me copy paste it properly, 1 second. Okay, and when we run Terraform plan now, it will say no changes. It will not attempt to destroy. So Terraform no longer remember about this private instance. But let's say our manager get back to us and say, oh no, I made a mistake. We need this instance in Terraform. How do we recover it? Or how do we add some resource that was manually created? Is the command called Terraform import. And for each resource in Terraform documentation, there are instructions about how to import the resource that already exists. Let me show you example, 1 second. So here is Terraform documentation about EC2 instance, and if you scroll down below, you see the example about how to import an existing resource. So Terraform can not only create resources, but also manage and add existing resources into its state. So the command will be Terraform import AWS_instance private instance, and we need to go to our AWS and check our instance ID. When we run Terraform apply, reasonably, no changes expected. Any questions? Okay, very cool. So if there are no other questions for today, thank you very much for attending. And now talk with you at Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.